let's put it out there that you don't need to spend a lot of money on swaps sometimes. You might just have to dig a little bit.
I did have lead in my Stanley.
That was one thing that went for me, was those coffee pots, coffee pods.
Like with plastic, the question is, how can we reduce it? How can we use it less and lessen the load?
You're just chopping up those microplastics into your food, into everything.
I'm literally sitting in microplastics right now. I've got my activewear on.
Am I eating melted plastic right now?
Yes. Welcome back to the Sis Let's Heal podcast. Today's episode is one that we think every woman, especially those who are pregnant, postpartum, or planning to be, needs to hear, because we're talking about something that's part of our everyday lives, but rarely talked about in a practical way, and that's plastics. From the food we eat to the products we use to the clothes we wear, we are constantly being exposed to chemicals that can interfere with our hormones and impact our health in ways most people don't even realize. And before you start thinking this is going to be an overwhelming or extreme episode, it's not. Our goal with this episode, as always, is to bring awareness to what's actually happening, where these exposures are coming from, and most importantly, how you can start reducing them in a way that feels realistic and sustainable for your lifestyle. Because this isn't about perfection, it's about being informed and making small changes that add up over time. So let's get into it. Plastics. I feel like this is something that's been living in my head rent-free for a few weeks now, ever since I watched The Plastic Detox on Netflix, and I don't know, it's kind of consuming me.
I loved The Plastic Detox, and I think everyone should go and watch it. I think it was very eye-opening. It's been consuming me a little bit too, but I think this is definitely some more advanced health stuff. Do you know what I mean?
It is and it isn't, because I think it's so important, but there's other things that could be kind of crossed off the list, or lower hanging fruit before we're thinking about this. But say you've done all of the things we've talked about so far, because I'm sure there's some women out there who have. This is the next place that I would suggest looking.
Yes, I agree. It's not the first and foremost thing, if you're starting from square one, but it is something to be cautious of. And then if you're okay, I feel like I'm living the healthiest I've been, and then it's what new information can I know, or is there something else I can change to enhance my quality of life? And then this would be it.
Mm-hmm. I don't know if I ever thought, they always say, you're a student for life. You're always going to be learning something, even if it's not one new thing every day. You're always learning. And silly me, I thought once I learned about macros, that would be it. I would scratch the itch about that. And then I wanted to learn more about building and running a business. And then I learned how to do that. Not that I'm a professional by any means, but I still have a business 4.5 years strong now. But then I was I want to learn about pregnancy, postpartum, baby nutrition, and fertility nutrition. And now I'm what else can I learn? It's almost addicting to learn about how different ways that you can improve your health, even if you are at your healthiest version. There's always something that you can improve. There's always something to be more intentional about, which, I don't know, it's exciting and fun.
It is exciting and fun, and I feel once you do scratch the surface of all the junk that they're putting in our food and our products and all that kind of stuff, then when you start to dive deeper into the whole oh my gosh, then what is all of that wrapped in? And it's ooh, interesting. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and I think there's obviously only so much you can do, kind of we were talking about with the whole data center thing and AI. You will never completely remove every part of that. But with plastic, the question is, how can we reduce it? How can we use it less and lessen the load?
Yes, exactly. So I'm excited. It has been on the forefront of my mind. I think this documentary was crazy. First and foremost, everyone go watch the documentary, because it deals directly with fertility, which I loved. And the fact that it dealt with probably 5 or 6 couples mainly. And the fact that all of them had unexplained infertility, And then one of the couples had unexplained infertility for about 10 years. Now, granted, the experiment unfortunately did not work for them as far as we know. But the
Spoiler.
rest of the couples, oh, I'm so sorry. Oops. Okay, wait, should I say?
I don't
Should
think
I
you should
continue?
spoil it completely for them if you want them to watch it.
Oh gosh, okay. Go watch it.
I will say I was completely, and I don't know why, I was completely surprised that the documentary was entirely about fertility. Like, I thought we were just going to be talking about plastics. Plastics
Yeah.
are bad. And then I get like 10 minutes into it and I'm like, oh, now I'm suddenly like that much more invested in this. It was amazing.
Well, I think fertility, I liked that it was all about fertility because, yes, our goal in life is to live long and all that kind of stuff. But our purpose in life, really on this earth, was to multiply. So it's very interesting that the plastics are interfering directly with that almost purpose, to where it's harming our bodies because that's what our bodies want to do the most. That's what they feel they are set on this earth to do. So let's talk about it.
So the reason that the plastics are an issue, especially for women, so I don't know if there's any men out there that want to call BS on this idea, but like our bodies are affected differently by plastics than what men are, because what a lot of plastics are doing are mimicking estrogen. And we have a lot more estrogen than what males do. So they are considered endocrine disruptors, which is what we talked about in our podcast last week with Jody. But what they're doing is they are mimicking, they are acting like estrogen, which is confusing all of our estrogen receptors and either not functioning as they should properly or feeling like they don't have to function because their needs are already met, which throws off the harmony that our bodies have. So that's really why it's like, okay, so like, why the heck, like, it's plastic, so what? Like, that is why. And when our hormones are thrown off, obviously that's going to impact our fertility. Like, duh.
Yes. But same with men. Men do still need estrogen within their body, just like women need testosterone. So it does affect the men as well. But I see what you're saying.
Yeah, there's more of an impact on women's health, especially when it comes, and maybe this is something a lot of people, I didn't realize this, like that's where like not just fertility, but even like unexplained weight gain could be caused by just an overload in your body of plastics because your body doesn't have a way to detox it and get rid of it. So not saying like that's the end all be all for everyone, but it could be cause for that if that's something that you're dealing with. So a lot of things you'll see, like packaging has like BPA free, or there's like phthalates and parabens and like all of these things. Like those are a lot of the main culprits for these estrogen mimicking particles, I'll call them. There's a lot of talk about like these forever chemicals, which are like PFAs. But something that I feel like isn't talked about a lot because we hear BPA free, but what they're not telling us is that they're just replacing that with a different version, which is like BPS or BPF, which there's no radar out for them, but they could actually be causing more harm. And everyone thinks they're in the clear because, oh, there's no BPA in it, like we're good.
Yeah.
But that's not really how it works.
Yeah, I definitely get where you're coming from with that. I think what opened my eyes a lot about the documentary was exactly how many things have plastic in it that we really do not notice.
And I think if anything, since I've watched the documentary, like I'm just thinking everything that I do, I think about it. It's
Yes.
like, and we're going to get into this here in a little bit, but like even just in the grocery store, in your kitchen, in your bathroom, in your home, on
your
your
closet.
body, in your closet, like everywhere. Everywhere. And one thing that I've been wanting to do, and I don't even know if this would help, I want to get like an air purifier, because I would assume that can help take some of the chemicals out of at least the air that we're breathing, because everything that we bring in our house off gases somehow.
Yes, but to do you one better, because a lot of your air purifiers are made with like
Plastic.
There are certain plants. Now, I don't know this off the top of my head, and this will require a little bit of research on both of our parts. There are certain plants that act as air purifiers within a home.
I have heard that there are certain plants that like can be very beneficial to have in a home for those reasons, like to impact your health specifically.
Yes.
We'll have to look into that.
We'll have to look into that. I'm not 100% on that yet, but it is a better situation than something you have to plug in and it uses electricity.
For our video watchers, listeners, subscribers, can I show them why I think maybe a plant would not be the best option for me?
I mean, you can, but let's explain it as well.
Oh, my husband got me a little rose plant 2 Valentine's Days ago, and I really thought I was doing a wonderful job at keeping it alive. And then the winter hit.
Oh.
And it's still in my windowsill. And it's extremely brown and crunchy.
It's very brown.
I still keep watering it. I think it'll come back. It has a chance, I believe. I just don't know where that chance
it's not going to come back.
lies. I don't know. A part of me just wants to stick it in the ground and see what happens. So if I do that, I can, of course, keep everyone updated. But plants scare me. I mean, we've got some other ones that are doing well. It's just this specific plant is not a great representation.
Yeah, but you might need to like service the air purifier or do something with or change a filter with the air purifier. So like, what would you rather do? Water a plant or change a filter? You got to do one or the other at some point.
I could just buy a new plant. Really much cheaper than an air purifier.
There you go. Perfect.
Anyway, so another reason we're like looking into these plastics at the moment is because there are actually studies now showing that like these plastics have been linked to the obvious hormone imbalance, even irregular cycles, reduced fertility, like this documentary showed us, thyroid dysfunction, and an increased risk, this is interesting, increased risk of PCOS and endometriosis. And during pregnancy, it crosses the placenta, or can cross the placenta, which can be associated with low birth weights and also just like developmental or even behavior changes, which is crazy. So it's not like just us that it's affecting, like it can also affect a baby in utero, which is crazy.
Which, as the pod knows, like I am someone that struggled with PCOS, and I have not checked in on it recently, but just by the way my body feels, my personal goal in life is to like not have a single struggle with PCOS anymore. And I really feel like I am there at my current state of life, but it is something that causes some fertility issues. So it is very, very important to me to focus on my fertility because I know that that's on the table. So I think if you're someone that struggles with the PCOS, endometriosis, or just like you don't even maybe know you struggle with it and you struggle with it because it does show up in all different forms like PCOS and things like that, I think this is a great podcast to listen to for those reasons. A great documentary to go watch. I cannot stress enough, but a good podcast to listen to for that.
Yeah. And I'm not going to go on that tangent just yet, but I have been listening to a particular podcast that has been very informative when it comes to the plastics that are in our clothes. So we can talk about that later. But all of it affects fertility, and also symptoms and different diagnoses that can pop up during pregnancy if we're overloading our bodies, which is just mind-blowing to me. But let's go back and talk more about where we're being exposed to these things. Obviously, like, we've been putting a lot of thought into this, but like specifically just talking like food and like kitchen things. We've got our plastic food containers, which we've talked about, our takeout containers, which we've talked about, our plastic wrap, our bottled water, our K-cups. Like, have we thought about that? Coffee lids, or like to-go coffee cups, non-stick cookware. That's where the forever chemicals are lying. And I think the biggest thing to think of with most of these is the problem comes into play when we're heating these things up. That's where the chemicals are leaking into whatever it is that we're consuming, and that's where it's a big problem. Then, talking about clothing, and this is something a lot of this is what I've learned from this podcast I've been listening to, but any of our clothes that are talking about like moisture wicking, sweat wicking, like stain resistant, waterproof, all of those words mean that there is some type of chemical introduced to make it have that property. So if something was cotton, but then it says like it's stain resistant or it doesn't show sweat or whatever, it essentially like negates everything good that once was about cotton, because now these chemicals are in it. So a lot of the fabrics that we have to pay attention to is like polyester, nylon, acrylic. They release these microplastics, and I mean, I'm literally sitting in microplastics right now. I've got my activewear on. Yeah. And it's like every single day we're sitting in these.
We definitely are, but we're sitting in them, but we're also sleeping in them. Because if your sheets are not like 100% or organic cotton or something along the lines, or linen sheets, you're sleeping in them, and that's the main time your body's supposed to be rejuvenating and like fixing itself, and you're allowing those microplastics to come in during your nature's operating table time.
And I think that for me at this point, because like you and I both have really already taken steps in a lot of the right directions with this, but it's like now my eyes are being opened to the clothes, because that's something that I didn't even consider before.
Yes.
Didn't even consider it. But like even just looking at my desk, I just see plastic everywhere.
Yes. But can I tell you what I'm going to do about the clothes?
Yeah. And I can tell you what my thoughts were too.
Okay. So just to give some people some options, it's very difficult, the world we live in at this point, for the not having microplastics in clothing. There is always the option to make your own clothing. That's Homestead McGeeing over here.
I'm not there.
I don't do that. I don't. And then you can buy the organic cottons, organic linens. You can try and push for those whenever possible, but they're not necessarily as realistic. What is more realistic is maybe just focusing on your undergarments, like underwears, bras, under t-shirts, being that 100% organic cotton fabric. That is what I'm going to try to do next, is switch all that out. Because you got to think, you want to protect those genital, sexual, like organs as much as possible. And yes, your skin is a big organ, and all of the microplastics go in through your pores and things like that. But more localized, I will try and put a bit of a barrier, if that makes sense.
Well, that's exactly kind of where in my head, like, I will be starting. I'm not someone that's like for the quick fashion or anything. I know in the past, like, you've done like Shein hauls or whatever, but like I've just never been like the big quick fashion. Like, I like shopping, but I also hate shopping at the same time. Like, it makes no sense, but That's where I'm at. So I'm not a typical like clothing shopper unless I need like an outfit for a specific thing. But the next time I go to purchase things, like I'm going to be more aware of that. And I definitely think like just starting with an overhaul of just the undergarments, because like you said, like all of that pertains to not only fertility, but there have also been studies that have shown that like there have been increase in breast cancer in younger women. And like we're in athleisure all the time. We're in sports bras all the time. Like all of these microplastics are on our breasts. They're on our genitals like all the time. And like, is that not eye-opening?
Well, there are certain like communities in Africa where they would give women polyester underwear as birth control.
Was it polyester or was it nylon?
I want to say it was polyester.
Okay. I heard that as well.
I was going to say I might need to be fact corrected on that, but moral of the story is they're giving them a chemical, an underwear made with like microplastics or chemicals as birth control. And I can guarantee a lot of our underwear have higher polyester or nylon fabrics in it. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So that is my first and foremost, because I believe it is easy, and granted, a lot of us probably should do a full clean out of the underwear and get all new. I know.
I can tell you, I'm still wearing things from college and high school. Which
exactly. I know. That's what I'm saying.
There's still some old Victoria's Secret in there, and I can't tell you the last time I bought Victoria's Secret underwear.
Exactly.
Which also not good.
No, not good at all. But we're just being honest here.
Yeah.
That's an easy place to start. So that is where I will be starting. I might also look into starting at your socks, because your bottom of your feet tend to soak in a lot, and a lot of pathways are through the bottom of your feet. This is becoming a little bit more holistic-y, but the bottom of your feet do play a big role. And if you're someone like me, I'm a sock person. Like very rarely will you see me in bare feet, unless I'm wearing like a sandals, or like I just woke up and didn't put socks on yet and just ran downstairs for something. Other than that, I'm normally walking around the house in a sock. So
the only reason you don't have socks on when you woke up is because they fell off in the middle of the night.
Because I am a sock sleeper.
And I am anti-sock sleeping. I cannot stand it. And maybe that's where Josie gets it from, but
I know. I'm a big sock sleeper. And then I kick them off in the middle of the night, because then at some point I am an anti-sock sleeper. Yes. So there's always
not
socks
while you're
at the
conscious,
bottom.
though.
No. But it's so funny when we were younger, like mom, before we like would do our own laundry, like mom would do our laundry, and she would pick up like my comforter at the bottom, and there would be at least 10 pairs of different socks under there.
And that's why our socks never matched.
Yes. I love it. Yes. No, but that is my starting point. I want to go back to the kitchen just a little bit, just because I want to, since we did give a swap that we're personally doing, I want to go through some of the swaps that we've already done within our kitchen to kind of help this matter. This is going to be a long thing, so people take some notes, write it down. Like,
we can also simplify later. And
yes,
we talked about all of this, but like, here's where you could start. Realistically.
Here's where you could start, but like I'm just gonna give the proper swaps to things so that way everyone's ready for it. Okay, obviously plastic plates, switch to glass. Plastic Tupperware
or ceramic.
Yep, plastic Tupperware, glass, or ceramic. Your non-stick cookwares, absolutely horrible. Let's switch to cast iron, stainless steel, or ceramic. Yes. Now, one I just recently switched, which I am loving so far. And I want to preface, all of these switches can be gradual because I know it is expensive to swap all these out.
It has to be.
Oh, while I'm still talking about like the heated stuff, your cooking utensils, especially those black ones,
I need
throw
to
them out immediately.
I'm
Start
taking
there.
notes for myself.
Yes. Actually, Caleb, you take some notes too.
I am, because that's the one thing I need to make the switch on yet is my cooking utensils.
Yes, the black one specifically as well. Please, after this, go throw all of those out. That is the best place to start, and switch them to wood. I love my wood cooking utensils. They look gorgeous on my countertop. They look so much better than the black ones, because sometimes the black ones like melt, and then it's like, am I eating melted plastic right now?
Yes.
And yeah, you are.
My notes so far: cooking utensils, underwear, and bras.
Perfect.
And then we'll put a little side socks.
Socks. Yes, I love it. So the recent switch that I've been doing, that I've been loving recently, is Ziploc bags.
Yes.
I love a Ziploc bag. I'm always going for a Ziploc bag. I recently, and I ordered them off of Amazon, the beeswax papers. They are great. They have no chemicals in them. They have all natural ingredients. And what they are is it's this piece of like paper wrapped in beeswax so that it adheres, almost like a cling wrap situation or a foil. It adheres to whatever you put around it. So like I put my cheese in it, or if I have an onion cut, I'll put like the half of the onion in it. It adheres around it, and then you take it off, and then all you do to clean it is you run it under like water. Don't use any like soap or anything, just kind of like get it. Well, you could use a light detergent, a mild detergent. If you have an all natural clean detergent, use that. And you kind of just wash it like you would like a plate or something. Rinse it off, let it dry, and then it's good to use again. Incredible. So I'm absolutely loving those. I also did find gallon. There are big beeswax wrappers, but I also did find gallon compostable Ziploc bags.
I was just going to ask if you've heard about the compostable ones. Because
Yes.
I don't know. Like, imagine like you cut up like a kiwi or something. Mm-hmm. Or you got some berries that are a little extra ripe. Like, there's going to get juice everywhere from a beeswax wrap somehow.
Yes. So there are compostable bags that literally, compostable means you could take them and you could throw them in your compost pile and they will break down. Mm-hmm. Because they're made from plants, which is amazing. So that's a big switch I've just recently made. Cutting boards, get rid of all your plastic cutting boards. You're just chopping up those microplastics into your food, into everything.
So the swap I made with that was to bamboo.
Yes.
But now, and maybe I just need, excuse me, to look into this more. I think it was in this podcast, and maybe it's just for clothing specifically, is that bamboo can be not even worse, but like just as bad, because it has to be like processed to get to where it's at for like, and maybe this was just for clothes. I could be confusing
it might have just been for clothes, because you got to think the difference between an actual wooden bamboo substance versus however it is in clothes.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean?
Much different.
Definitely processed down.
Yeah.
For sure.
So we'll say the bamboo cutting boards are fine.
Yeah, or just wooden cutting boards. Yeah. They could be whatever type of wood. Just wooden.
And I think, I don't know, because I was looking, this was one of the things on my Christmas list, because I wanted to make a bunch of swaps then. Mm-hmm. I don't know if that's something more that you have to like shop for at like a more local like ma and pa type store, but like finding anything that wasn't bamboo or resembled wood on Amazon was like next to nothing. Like there just weren't options.
Like you didn't want them to look like wood?
No, like there weren't options for a wooden cutting board. Like everything was bamboo.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I gotcha. So. But I've been liking the bamboo.
Good stuff.
Coffee makers. You, every morning, 6 a.m., you're flushing boiling hot water through plastic. Which, when you actually think about it that way, it's like, oh, that's kind of crazy that I do that every morning. I personally switched to a French press a while back, and I know Kaylin kind of switched to a French press around Christmas time because she got one. I love it. I love it, really. And it's a stainless steel French press. It's glass. It's very easy to make. And that was one thing that went for me, was those coffee pots, coffee pods, like Nespresso. You can also get what's called a maca pot, where that is a stainless steel espresso maker that you put on the stove, where no plastic is involved. I also love those. That's maca, M-O-K-A. Also, don't know if that's the correct spelling at all. Just wanted to throw it out there.
But she was confident.
I was so confident because I didn't want mocha pot or like I don't want anyone looking up anything like that. It's like maca.
Maca. Put in some context with espresso maker and you'll get to where you're trying to go.
Yes, you'll find it. You got it. Which I've been loving those recently, and then I make that and then I put them into my glass or ceramic mugs and drink my coffee and or latte. What are you writing down? I see you taking the notes.
I forgot. I still need to get my plates, but the problem was when I went to go buy them, though I knew what I wanted. I had them in mind. They were the same ones for like the birthday plate I got for Josie that I painted on. That was the plate that I wanted. It's just clean, it's thin, it's lightweight, it's realistic. They were out of stock. But then I got to looking because I couldn't look at what I wanted to look at. And then I was like, well, do I just get a whole new kitchen set? Maybe 2, because they only come with like 4. And like, who only has like 4 plates, you know?
I will say, and I don't mean to go a little bit left on the podcast, a great place to get great quality plates for very cheap is the thrift stores, because they come in sets.
Yeah, you're not wrong. I could probably go.
I'm right.
She says with confidence.
I know I'm right, because every time I'm at the thrift store, I find a cute thing of plates, and I'm like, well, I already have a cute thing of plates. If I could have all the plates, I would buy all the plates. They're cute. Well, you have to look at them.
Next time you find plates, snap me a pic, and I'll tell you if I want them or not.
Oh my God, I found the cutest plates the other day, and I don't mean to go haywire, but if anyone who knows me knows I would have eaten these plates up. Now I have just fine plates, but wow, it said home sweet home on them, and they had a little cross stitching quilt pattern of a little house with chimney with smoke coming out of the chimney, and then on the around the sides it was that checkered quilt pattern where they do a bunch of different patterns in those checkered print. I could have lost my marbles.
Were there any hearts on it?
Oh, maybe.
I don't know.
I was obsessed. I was obsessed with these plates, but I was like, what am I going to do with these plates? I wanted to display them. They were so pretty. I didn't want to eat off them.
Right.
But wow, were they so cute. And probably a stack of 10 of them for maybe $6.
Yeah. So we got to have our eye out at the thrift.
Let's put it out there.
I'm also thinking name brand liquidations is where my mind went. Because I know they've got boxes of those.
Let's put it out there that you don't need to spend a lot of money on swaps sometimes. You might just have to dig a little bit. So a name brand liquidation or a thrift store or something like that. They do have you can find cast irons at thrift stores. You can find some stainless steels, pots and pans. There are options, but
you just
these
have to
switches,
look.
Yeah, they do take a while, the switches.
Yep.
But that's okay. Just kind of giving a list of like what to switch to is great. Another switch that I just did was I switched to, if anyone knows me, they know I drink out of my Stanley.
Yes.
And this is a new Stanley. Everyone appreciate it. For all the audio listeners, it is pink on pink. She's gorgeous. But I did just switch to stainless steel straws, because I drink out of this religiously. Now, the inside is stainless steel. Some have lead poisoning. Test your Stanleys. Some
Maybe
do have
not
lead poisoning.
Straight lead poisoning, just like lead present in them.
Lead presence. Some do
Which
have.
mine did. I did have lead in my Stanley.
I know. That's why I say, and Kaylin might be a 1 in a million case, but I personally know someone who had lead in their Stanley. So, and it's Kaylin. So,
You all know someone who had lead in their Stanley.
yes, test their Stanleys, because Kaylin has tested other Stanleys before and has not had positive lead tests come back. But
Correct.
she could have just had a false positive. So everyone just test it twice, test it 3 times, figure it out. You
Best
never
2
know.
out of 3.
Yes. But a Stanley of sorts that obviously it's not a plastic bottle, and then switch out your straw. Because why would you go through the whole hullabaloo of getting a freaking Stanley, and then you're like, well, I'm not drinking out of plastic, and then you're drinking out of plastic straw all the time.
Guilty.
Silly. Well, I know.
I'm guilty.
I know. Because you're Awala.
And it's
Even though we love the Awala, but
heartbreaking because I love the Awala. But like, I don't know if there's like just a different version that I can find.
I was looking at the store and I couldn't find. I know. Well,
It's my
when I was
newfound
looking,
love.
when I was doing my research as to like what should I be drinking out of, they did say Stanleys were pretty good, because mainly a stainless steel situation is what you should be drinking out of, or glass. Now, glass to me feels dangerous on the go.
It does. And I've also, talking about glass, I have heard absolute horror stories about glass straws
Yes.
breaking and then drinking them. So like, if you can avoid the glass straw, go the stainless steel straw route.
Yes, always go the stainless steel straw route. Even though the glass straw is good, dangerous. It's dangerous. I don't like it. It does freak me out. I also saw a lot about copper water bottles, because copper itself does have some antiviral, antibacterial, one of the two. Sorry,
I definitely think it's antimicrobial.
Oh, that's
I
nothing
think.
I said.
It's similar though.
Okay.
I want to say, but also they use for fertility reasons, and like copper IUD.
Listen.
Listening.
It says only drink out of it for like 1 or 2 drinks in the morning. Not all the time, not all day, just to get that antimicrobial, to kind of like almost like a vitamin.
Well, that just sounds incredibly inconvenient, because when I leave the house for the day, I've got my water bottle that I will drink out of all day.
Yes. But I was just saying, like, it's the same as like glass. Like, I have only glass cups, glass mugs, things like that in my cupboard. Oh my gosh, I can't freaking think right now. I'm just too excited. In my cupboard, one of those in the morning drink could be switched out for like a copper situation to get those benefits, but does not need to be. It is just a semi-safe thing to drink out of. That's all I'm saying.
Pause to talk about something completely unrelated to the topic we're talking about. How weird of a word is it? Cupboard. Who came up with a cupboard? And then who started pronouncing it as a cupboard? Because we all do it. Food for thought. Moving on.
Do you remember the Indian in the cupboard? Wasn't that a book? And I remember reading that book in like elementary school, and I was thinking, what the heck is he doing in there? I was very confused the whole book.
I can tell you I'm awfully confused because I have no idea what you're talking about.
Okay, let's go back to the topic.
I don't think we have to say it, but if we're swapping out the cutting boards, like not using the plastic knives.
Yeah.
Because there are like the plastic cutting knives, so that's an obvious one.
Yeah, that is an obvious one. Oh, air fryers. Air fryers. A lot of times they have like a bunch of like plastic non-stick situations. You can get like a stainless steel air fryer kind of thing off Amazon. A lot of times they're more of like a toaster oven situation, but there are stainless steel options. Because that's just another instance that you're heating plastic. So
that just brought me to another tangent that doesn't have to do with plastics, but like I've seen people making low tox swaps and like getting rid of their microwave. I'll just say that, like going for the toaster oven. Anyway.
I know they're getting rid of their microwave. I'm so close, guys. I'm so close. I still just struggle, but I'm so close.
Like, how do I warm up my bone broth quick before I run out the door to the gym, you know? Do I put it on a pot on the stove?
Well, here's my conundrum. Is I will bring my bone broth. Sometimes I get to work very early in the morning, and I will just bring my bone broth with me. My work doesn't have like an oven or a stove or anything like that. How do I heat that up?
Hair dryer.
I was gonna say I'll stick my curling iron in it. That's what I'll do. No, but like seriously, like what do I do in those circumstances? Like it is kind of like a give and a take of like
you just lessen rather than completely reduce totally.
Yes, exactly. Which
there's so many options.
We gotta think we can control our own environment. And I think that's where all these swaps come into play. Because, for instance, which I said I wasn't, before we started filming, me and Kaylin were talking about this, and I said, I'm probably not going to say that on the pod, but I'm going to say it. For instance, if you go out to coffee, they're putting it in a plastic cup. You have a plastic straw. They're putting that hot coffee in that plastic cup. It is what it is. Like, you don't know what kitchens have in the back. You don't know if they're cooking with plastic. They're probably not cooking with wood. I'd be shocked.
It's probably like a stainless steel, like metal situation.
It probably is. But like, you don't know what's happening outside of your own environment. So when you do go out into the big scary world, you'll probably have plastics. But It's okay, because you spend most of your life and your time in your own environment. And if you can control that space and try and make that space a healthy, clean environment for yourself, that will do a world of difference, rather than if you just say, well, it's going to happen anyways. Let me just not change anything about it.
Yep. And on that note, I think we should switch out of the kitchen mode.
Yes.
Let's go into, we're not even like talking about everything. We could probably have like 7 more podcasts on like this topic. All right. After small deliberations, we've decided this needs to turn into a 2-part thing. Like there's just not enough time in the world to talk about all these plastic things. And if that doesn't scare you, I don't know what does.
Yes.
So what we're going to kind of talk about next and then wrap it up here is our water. And I know this is something I'm sure, Ellie, you feel extremely convicted by. I know we were just talking about our Stanleys, but like the bottles of water that you've bought all of this time thinking that you were doing better for yourself. But like, who even knows at this point? Like, could have maybe done just as good with the tap water. But that's not something like, maybe when I was younger, we drink out of plastic bottles a lot more. But like lately, because I'm always like toting around my whatever bottle of choice at the moment, like I just haven't really noticed that an area that I really have to make swaps in. So I'm going to let you take this one.
Okay. Well, thanks.
You're welcome.
The plastic water bottles are something I have kicked recently. I've always been a big, like, carrying around water person. And there's actually some like crazy things that has happened through this journey. But we used to buy the spring water gallon bottles that were in the plastic gallons. Now, spring water is better than purified water because the minerals are still in spring water. When they purify it, they strip it of its minerals as well. Now, most of America is deficient in minerals. There are things like mineral salts that you could put the water back in, but just letting you know, that's why you want to go for the spring water. We have been saying for so long, we are wasting so much money on this spring water because we were paying about $15 to $20 a week to buy all these gallons of water. And we should just get a water filter. Now, that was a whole nother process because a lot of the water filters that we looked into were in plastic tanks. Granted, they were stripping the fluoride out of the water, and some were even remineralizing the water, all that gorgeous stuff in plastic tanks. So it was like, what are we supposed to do? Pretty much.
Who thought this was a better idea?
Yeah. So we did end up finding a water filter that's in a glass tank, a stainless steel nozzle that remineralizes the water. I don't want to share the name just yet because I do want to live with it a little bit longer. It's not hard to find. It's one of the only ones on the market. So if you do want to find it, just look it up. But I'm not going to share the name just yet because I don't want to. I'm not 100% on it yet. It is something we're still trialing. With that being said, my husband was someone who was always plastic water bottle, and that would be his water bottle of choice. He would refill said plastic water bottle. Like, because his whole thing was like the big cup just feels wrong to him. So we finally got him with the big cup because we watched the Plastic Detox, and that really spoke to him.
So that was an interest, that was like a recent switch for him.
Yes, because we were trying to switch that out anyways. We talked about it, but he was just kind of like, whatever. We're still drinking out of the big plastic gallons. I'm going to drink out of the plastic water bottle, whatever. So we switched to the water filter, and he actually stole my old white Stanley.
That defeated the purpose.
I know. I'm going to have to order him one. But he does the stainless straws. And he actually said to me, he said, I actually feel a lot better recently. And I said, oh, why is that? He said it might be two things. It might be the fact that he cut all those plastics out of his daily intake. But it also might be the fact that because it's a bigger cup, and it's a fun cup. I love a fun cup with a straw. He said, I feel like I'm drinking like 3 Stanleys a day. And that's like a gallon of water a day. He said, I'm just like constantly drinking out of the Stanley and don't even realize that I'm drinking when I'm drinking. So he said he's been feeling very much better. So we'll see where it goes.
Water can do that.
This is a pending investigation, but I just want to let everyone know that that's where we're at with the water. Water was one of our last swaps. It probably should have been our first. It was one of our last swaps, unfortunately, but so far we are loving it. And so far my water filter probably cost me $300 or $350. So it is a bit of an investment at first. I have to change the filter every 2 months, and that's about, I want to say $30. You can get a subscription. But I think by the end of the year, it's going to end up saving me hundreds of dollars.
Probably.
Yeah. Because all we do is we take our tap water in a glass pitcher. We carry our tap water to our water, and we pour it in. And now what we pour it into, there's like a little dome that we pour it into. That is plastic. And then it goes through the filtration system. And then the tank that the clean water sits in is glass. And in that glass at the bottom are mineral stones. So the mineral stones then naturally remineralize that water because it was just stripped of everything. So then it sits with those mineral stones. And then we take it out of the stainless steel like spigot. So we'll see. I haven't had it 2 months yet. I haven't had to change the filter. What I found very interesting, and this is videos that like the company, I believe, kind of put out itself, was this specific brand. They say don't put it in direct sunlight. And I was like, oh, interesting. Because the water is natural water with them and then natural minerals. If it sits in direct sunlight, it can grow algae.
Interesting.
Isn't that interesting?
Yeah.
But then if it does grow algae, you just wash everything as normal. You take it apart and wash it and you put it back together and it's fine. But like, it's natural mineralized water. Like, yeah, it probably will grow algae with the sun.
I'm racking my brain right now because I remember my mother-in-law telling me that it's good to let the water that you water your plants with sit in the sun. And I still couldn't figure out why. Like, would algae be beneficial for them? But also they're in plastic bottles, so like, am I suffocating my plants? That's why my rose died, I think. It's getting watered out of a plastic bottle. That's it. The plastic killed my roses.
That's our conclusion.
Anyway, so I'm glad you found good water filtration system. I'm sure everyone is waiting to hear the conclusion of the trial.
So all in all, some good places to start is cooking utensils. Swap them out for wooden. You can buy them as sets, so it's easy. You just dump them all in the trash, buy a new set. Perfect. Look into switching around some water situations. That tends to be more of a pricier one, so just start the research.
Have the intention and the awareness for when the next time you're buying these things.
Yes. And let's start with your pots and pans. Because not only is there microplastics in them, there's chemicals in them that you're heating and cooking into every meal.
If you don't want to make the big investment with those two, like, thank goodness pots and pans, you can kind of onesie, twosie if you need to.
Yes. Absolutely. So everyone just kind of start there. Next time you're at the store, maybe buy one new swap.
Yeah.
Next time you're at like a Target or next time you're on Amazon, maybe just say, I'm going to get one new swap. But that's kitchen wise. And then clothing wise, let's start with our undergarments.
The food storage. Stop using plastics and stop microwaving plastics. I think that's a very like low hanging fruit. Like you could stop that tomorrow and still survive.
Yes.
I digress.
Absolutely. And clothing-wise, let's switch out the undergarments.
Yep.
Socks, underwear, t-shirts, bras.
Camis, yeah.
Perfect.
That's where I'm starting. And one thing that I'm going to look for, we don't have to go into this because I'm not an expert on this and I haven't done a whole lot of research. I've learned this from the podcast that if you see GOTS certified, GOTS, when you're looking for these cotton and just like better linens and whatever on your body, the GOTS certification pretty much says that there's like less than whatever level of chemicals and that it is safer to wear. So that's what I'm going to be looking at when I look for my undergarments. Just putting that out there.
Wonderful.
And then just the recap, when you're looking at clothes, when you're looking at literally anything that you're buying, also being okay with buying less things, whether it's kitchen stuff, whether it's clothes related, like just buy less things and you're going to be less exposed to everything. BPA, BPS, BPF, phthalates, which are often hidden, which this will be in part 2 in fragrances and perfumes, PFAs, and all of anything that can fall under that umbrella, parabens, and PVC, like vinyl things. There's a lot to look for. Obviously, there's many rabbit holes that we could go down, but just some things to be aware of, plain and simple. Remember, it's not about just changing everything. It's just how can we make a small reduction in our exposure day by day. That's all I'll say.
Perfect.
So that wraps up today's episode on plastics, part 1, which we found throughout the podcast episode, and how they are impacting our health. Come back for part 2 because it's going to be just as good. But if this conversation opened your eyes a little bit, just a reminder that you don't have to overhaul your entire life overnight. It's really unrealistic. The goal isn't to eliminate every exposure, but realistically realizing that we can't. The goal is to start becoming more aware of what you're using every day and make small intentional swaps where it makes sense for you. Whether that's switching out your food containers, being more mindful about heating food in plastic, or paying attention to your water that you drink. Those small changes add up in a big way over time. If you found this episode helpful, please share it with a friend, especially another woman who's trying to be more proactive about her health or preparing her body for pregnancy. Don't forget to follow us on Instagram and TikTok, and subscribe to our YouTube channel if you aren't already. And don't forget to leave us a review. We love to hear what you say, and your reviews help us reach more women like you. As always, we'll see you next time on the Sis Let's Heal podcast. Hey, I'm not done yet. I wanted to give you a heads up that after assessing our schedule this week, we decided we will be taking next week off. So come back for part 2 after we have our next podcast guest, which is going to be really exciting. You'll want to make sure that you catch her in 2 weeks. All right, we'll see you next time.